Today we are just to try to revise the last topics of the first unit. So those are the documenting architecture and another one is the reconstructing the architecture. So we are already discussed some of the topics. So which are we are already discussed in the previous days. So we are revised in the yesterday class. So now in this class we try to revise last topics of the first unit. So we're already discussing some of the topics. So I hope all of the members able to see the screen. Sir, Srinu sir, are you able to see the screen now, sir? Srinu sir, hello, hello, Srinu sir, please respond anyone through chat box. All of the members able to the screen now or not? Srinu sir, hello, hello. Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, in the last class, we are revising the some of the topics by using some key points also. So what we are discussed in the last class is, so first of all, we are discussing about the architecture business cycle. In the architecture business cycle, we are mainly consider the four things. So what are the four things? So first one is the stakeholders, and second thing is the developing organization, and third one is the technical environment, and the fourth one is architect experience. So these four things are main. So when we are discussing about the architecture business cycle, why? Because this is the software architecture. So how we are developing the software? So the complete procedure or complete steps, so which are needed for to developing the software is referred to as totally architecture business cycle. And we are also discussing another topic, that is software architecture. So in the case of software architecture, here also we are consider the 4 points. So those type of 4 points are software elements and using more than one structure, and every computation system having software architecture and the behavior of the each element in a software architecture. So that means in the software architecture mainly we are consider the, so which type of elements, so how many number of modules are there, and another thing, which type of how many number of structures are used in the elements or submodules, and another one, so whether we are providing different types of structures for different types of computations, and at the last one, so what is the behavior of the each element in a part of the structure. And the next topic is architectural pattern. In the case of architectural pattern, we are giving the description about element and their relationship. So that means in the software, when we are developing some software, that software having different types of modules. So how many number of modules are available in the software architecture? At the same time, what is the relationship between them? So all these are verified into the architectural pattern. So another thing, reference model. So a division of functionality. A division of functionality is followed. So that means here we are following the unit testing. So in the, what is the meaning of unit testing? So if you are observing the each and every module individually, so whether those are properly working or not, so that will be verified unit testing. So and as another one is reference architecture. Reference architecture means nothing but this is like system testing. So that means we are combining the all modules into a single module or single one, single one. So now verifying whether all the modules are properly working or not to achieve the desired functionality of the users. So another thing, views. So here we are consider the three types of views: module views, and another one is component and connector views, and the last one is allocation views. So in the same way, here we are consider the structures also. So those are module structures, component and connector structures, and the last one is allocation structures. So these two are performing the same thing. Views are in terms of users. Views are giving the expression or maybe giving the description in terms of users, end users. At the same time, structures giving the description about in terms of developers. Okay. So another one, next topic, quality attributes. So here we are verifying different types of quality attributes. So which how much of quality is maintained by to the those attributes, because So here when we are developing some software, that software rating is based upon some of the factors. So those type of factors here we can consider as quality attributes. So mainly we are consider the three types of qualities: system qualities, business qualities, architectural qualities. The name is implies what is the purpose of those type of qualities here. System qualities verifying the availability, modifiability, performance, security, testability, usability, like this. In the case of business qualities, so those are related to the business terms, like maybe how much of cost, or maybe what is the benefit, and how much of time is needed, like this. And whether we are able to market, whether we are able to giving the giving the some within the time or not. So whether we are able to design within the time or not. So whether we are maybe maintaining the rollout of schedule or not. So all these are verified in the business qualities. In the case of architectural quality, so here we are verifying the conceptual integrity, correctness, and completeness. So another thing we are discussing, the another topic is that is achieving qualities. Srinivas sir, hello, hello, hello. Please respond. Sir, what's the topic now, sir? What is the topic? What's the topic on the screen now, sir? Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, so in the case of achieving qualities, here we are verifying whether we are achieving that type of the desired quality or not. So that will be verified by using some type of the qualities here. So those type of qualities are here. We are consider the four types of qualities. Those are runtime qualities, non-runtime qualities, business qualities, and another one is the architectural qualities. The name is implies here in which type of way we are achieving the desired quality or not. So in the case of runtime qualities, so these are completely related with whenever system performing the some execution. So by using the software, if you are performing any type of the computation, so then it will be different from one procedure to the another procedure, that will be vary from user to the user, at the same time organization to the organization also. So that means may not be the chance all of the users may be performing the same operation. So different types of users are accessing the same software to performing the different types of operations. So those are maybe related with the runtime also. So in the case of runtime, mainly we are verifying functionality, performance, security, availability, usability, interoperability. So all these things are related with the runtime. So in the case of non-runtime system qualities, here these are concerned with the developers. So that means after developing the software, if you are need to perform any type of the changes, for example, maybe if you are adding some more attributes, or maybe if you are adding some more functionalities, so then those are related with the non-runtime, because those are not able to execute in terms of users. So just only these are possible through using in terms of developers only. Okay, so another one is portability. So for example, maybe if you are moving the software from one device to the another device, so then there is no chance of occurring the runtime. Okay, so another one, business qualities. In the case of business qualities, also verifying what is the cost and schedule, marketability, so appropriateness for organization. So how much of benefit we are able to get from the software. So all these things are verified. And last one is architectural qualities. So those are conceptual integrity, correctness, and completeness also. So next topics are architectural styles and patterns. So architectural styles and patterns, here we have different types of structures and different types of patterns, and different types of styles are followed here. So in this architectural styles, here we are using three types of styles mainly, and here the architectural styles involving maybe using the granularity in some type of situations, maintaining the some hierarchy. Okay, so here we are consider the three types of architectural styles. So those are, the first one is data centric, and another one is the layered architectural style, and the last one is object oriented style. So all these topics are we are already discussed in the last classes. Okay, in the last class also we are discussing about the designing the architecture. So that means when we are designing some software architecture, so which type of steps are involved, and which type of things to be considered. So, and what are the factors to be design the good quality of the software design. So how to we are design the architecture. So that means here why we need to why we need to giving the more importance for the architecture is because so when the end users processing with this software, then those are feel to comfort, those are not having the feel as ambiguity here. So that's why we need to follow some guidelines and maintain the some factors, and those type of factors are used for to design the good quality of the architecture. So and if you are observing this diagram, so these are the steps to be involved how we are designing the software. So that means we are already know about and we are already discussed, and we are also studied in the software engineering. So when we are developing the software, so we need to follow the some steps. Those are requirement analysis, design, coding, testing, maintenance, and then we are receiving the feedback from the customer. Based upon that customer, we try to involve or maybe performing some updations according to the user requirement. Maybe users not having the programming knowledge, so those are simply click the buttons. The based upon those buttons, whenever that person will be click that button, simply he receiving the report from the software. So in that type of way, developers should be designing the software, then only users easily comfort with the designed software. So those type of steps are involved in this diagram, so that will be referred as evolutionary delivery life cycle. So that means before delivering the software to the end users, we should be verify whether it will be meets the customer needs or not. Okay, so another thing, so attribute driven design. So this is also one of the thing when we are considered into the designing the architecture. So attribute driven design, this is mainly used for to decomposing the quality attributes. So that means, so here we are clearly verify the sub modules, so those sub modules are properly working or not. So all these things are verified into the attribute driven design, and the input to the attribute driven design is a set of functional requirements, at the same time some constraints. So based upon those constraints and some requirements, it will be able to design the exact software architecture which is suitable to the end users. So in the case of ADD, so definitely following the some steps, all these are we are discussed in the last class. I'm just try to revise what we discussed in the last class. Okay, so here we are following some steps. So first of all, we try to what is the purpose of ADD? What is the purpose of ADD means it will be performing the some verification, or maybe the whether those type of modules are properly working or not. So all these are verified into the ADD. So in the case of ADD, first of all we try to check so which type of module to be decomposed. So why we need to perform the decompose? So the purpose of decomposition is reducing the complexity in front of the end users. So why? Because if the end users not able to easily move with the software, then automatically degrade the performance of the software architecture, or maybe reducing the rating also. Then we are not able to giving the highest market. So or maybe we are not able to reach the highest target. So why? Because the same functionality performed by to the more than one software in a society. So we also know about that. For example, for performing the same thing, we are having more number of softwares. Then how we are getting the highest rating for our software? That is based upon to the design only. So some of the users maybe we are heard about this. So maybe that software is very suitable. That software is very easy. So we are already here so many number of times. Why? Because that is based upon to the architecture. So here when we are based upon to the architectural, sorry, attribute driven design, we should be following the some steps. So those are the first one, choose the module to decompose. So which module to be performing the decomposition, so that will be identified. So for example, maybe if the module is process, now we are we need to perform some, so we need to perform decomposition of that particular attribute. Why? Because we need to reduce that attribute. So then maybe in the process, so it will be maybe having some other type of categories. When we are click that button, if there is maybe the chance students, faculty, and admins, so like this, then easily we are observe, so who is performing the modifications on that particular attribute. So that will be verified by using that type of the decomposition. So another one, refining the module according to the some steps. So in some type of situations we need to verifying the, we need to perform the refining also. Why we need to refine? So because nothing but to achieving some quality. So and we can test how much of performance will be we are achieved through by using that attribute. So here we need to verify so those type of submodules are properly working or not here. So if you are observing here, we are consider some points. Those are choose the architectural drivers from the set of concrete quality scenarios, functional requirements. The step determines what is the important for decomposition. So when we need to performing the refine, first of all we try to identify why we need to perform the decomposition. So if we need to performing the decomposition, that means that type of attribute having the complexity, at the same time maintains the ambiguity in front of the users. So we need to perform the decomposition. And second thing is choose an architectural pattern that satisfy the architectural drivers. Create the pattern based upon the tactics can be used to achieve the drivers. Identify the child modules required to implement the tactics. So that means here we need to identify what are the child modules, which type of child modules are needed to adding the existing attribute. And third one, instantiate modules and allocate functionality from use cases and representing using multiple views. So that means here we are providing multiple views by using some different types of allocating, we are different types of functionalities for the modules. So and creating interfaces, and here we are verifying those type of use cases, so which are performed by to the user actions. So and those type of actions are also maintained as a module. Okay, and third one is we can repeat the same steps for every module for need to for example verify whether any type of the decomposition is needed or not. And we can forming the team structure. And the last one, we can creating like a skeletal system, so nothing but some border or some layout. So that means when we are based upon to the ADD, we need to the following the four steps. So the first one is, so choose to which module to be performing the decomposition. Second thing, refining the modules according to some steps. So and another one, third one, forming the team structure, and fourth one, creating skeletal system. So that means all these steps are involved into the architectural, sorry, attribute driven design. Okay, so in the case of classical software engineering practice recommends stubbing out the sections code so that portions system can be added to separately and tested independently. However, which portions should be stubbed? By using the architecture guide, a sequence of implementations becomes clear. So that means, so here we need to identify some of the modules, so whether those type of modules are properly working or not. Here classical software engineering having some type of guidelines. So those type of guidelines are, first one, implement the software that deals with the execution and interaction of the architectural components. So that means, so the implementation of software deals with the execution and interaction of the architectural components. So obviously when we are based upon to the some software, the software having different types of elements, and those type of elements having the some relationships with the some other elements, and those type of modules able to perform the different types of actions or computations within the software architecture. So second thing is, choose of which elements providing the functionality should be added to the system. So that means here we are identifying the, so which type of modules are having the higher risk and which type of modules are having the lower risk. And third one, employ the user structure, tell you what additional software should be running correctly in the system, support the functionality. So that means in some type of situations we need to include some other functionalities. So that means maybe we try to include some other new softwares into the existing software. Why? Because maybe that is maybe the need of users, or maybe that is our desired goal also. In some type of situations, at that type of situation we need to include those type of modifications. And the final one is, so when we are performing all these modifications, then only it will be reaches to the quality of the software. So that means here we are following the four types of guidelines. So the first one is how we are implementing the software with the elements to perform the computations and maintaining the relationships. And second one is identifying the higher risk. For example, maybe if for example maybe we are using some module, so that module may be performing the able to performing the computation. For example, maybe if the student is performing or maybe paying some fees. For example, maybe if the more number of students accessing that module at the same time, then what happens? So we can verifying the performance. So at the time of the situation, maybe the occurring the chance of risks. So we try to identify, so whether it is a higher risk or maybe the lower risk. For example, if it is a maybe the chance of high risk, then need to reduce the that type of happening the risk through decomposition of the attribute. Okay, or maybe we are restricting the users to accessing that particular module in that time. So that means we need to perform some mutual exclusion concepts there. Okay, and the third one is here we need to include some other software functionalities to performing the software. And the last one is when we are when we are involving all these modifications in the existing software, then automatically it will be reaches to the needs of the customer. Okay, so all these topics are we are discussed in the last class. Now we are discussing the last two topics of this unit. Those are documenting the software architecture. I think the name is implies, so why we need to based upon to the document. So when we are developing one software, definitely we should be providing the quality of the documentation to the end users, because always the documentation is available with the end users for correcting the errors at runtime. For example, maybe if any time of the situation occurring some type of error or maybe some type of problem in front of the users, then those are not able to those are not having the chance to easily intimating with the developers or maybe easily interacting with the developers. So if we are providing some guidelines or maybe some based upon some instructions, so those type of instructions are here we are listed as a documentation. So documentation speaks for the architect. It speaks for the architect today when the architecture should be doing other things besides answering 100 questions about the architecture. So that means if any time of the situation, if new person is taking the charge in the some other old person place, then this type of documentation will be giving the training. So mainly documentation used for in three types of ways. Those are the first one is architecture documentation serves as a means of education. The educational use consists of introducing the pupil to the system. The pupil may be new members of the team, external analysts, or even a new architect. In many cases, new person is the customer to whom you are showing your solution for the first time. A presentation you hope will result in filing go ahead approval. So that means here, if any time of the situation one of the new person is entered to performing the functions in a existing software, then this documentation will be used like as a to providing the education for to those people. So and another thing, architecture documentation serves as a primary vehicle for the communication among the stakeholders. So this documentation also giving the guidelines how we are moving with the customers from that organization. So how this person works with the some other persons. So that will be also listed into the documentation. And the third one is architecture documentation serves as a basics for the system analysis and construction. Architecture tells implements what to implement. Each module has interfaces that must be provided and use interfaces from other modules. Not only does this provide instructions about the provided and user interfaces, but it also determines with what other teams the development team for the module must communicate. So that means here we are identify which type of purpose for that module is designed, that will be also mentioned into the documentation. So that means finally uh, this documentation is helpful for to the end users, even though maybe even though even though developers are not communicating with the end users. So in some type of situations, maybe not having the chance to communicating with them. At this time of situation, this documentation is very helpful to solve the problems. And this documentation is also giving the quality for the software architecture. So and the last topic of this unit is reconstructing the software architecture. So all of the people, I'm trying to say one thing. So all of you don't try to feel bore for this subject. Why? Because I'm repeating the same topics again and again. Why? Because this is vast syllabus, and you try to remember all these points with the simple fingertips. Okay, so you try to remember all these topics with the some points. So for example, if it is architecture business cycle, you can try to remember 4 points. If it is a software architecture, you can try to remember with the 4 points. So if it is a for example, maybe architectural pattern or maybe the architectural styles, so whatever it may be the topic, you try to remember for the some side headings at least. So then you try to elaborate all these topics here, and you try to represent some diagrams for the whatever it may be, you are representing the topics in the exam point of view. Okay, you try to represent with the diagrams. Okay, and the last topic is reconstructing the software architecture. I think the name is implies when we need to perform the reconstruction. So that means if the developer software not able to achieve the desired functionalities, then the developers again recollect the, or maybe developers collect the some feedback from the customers how that software will execute performing the execution in the real time, and which type of problems are faced by to the users. All these are collected from the customers for the developers, and all these are used for to performing the reconstructing the software architecture. So that means this is very important step when we are designing the software. Why? Because this is based upon to the quality. So actually in the point of view, so for example maybe developers point of view, so maybe this module performing the functionality and this will be achieving the quality, and we are performing different types of testings like maybe black box testing, white box testing, and the system testing, unit testing, integration testing, like this. But in the real time we don't know what happened actually, so that type of the problem clearly identified by the end users only. So just only in the point of developers, they are testing only up to some extent only. But in the case of end users, they are practical. So they are really working with the that environment. So we should be based upon to the those guidelines or maybe the feedback from the customer. Those are used for to performing the reconstructing, then only we are able to satisfying the requirements of the user. So if you are observing here, architecture reconstruction is an interpretive, interactive and iterative process involving many activities. It is an not automatic. It requires the skills and attention of both reverse engineering expert the architect, largely because architectural constructs are not represented explicitly in the source code. So that means here what it says. So architectural reconstruction is a interpretive, and another one is interactive, and another one is iterative process. So that means we are repeating the same process, and this will be also referred as a architecture business cycle. Why? Because so we are repeating the same steps until achieving the our desired functionality. And there is no programming language construct for layer or connector or other architectural elements that we can easily pick out the source code file. Architectural patterns if used are seldom labeled. So that means here we are not using any specific programming language to performing the reconstruction. So that means whatever it may be, we are implementing the previous steps. So those steps are again repeated, and we try to include some modifications to achieve some functionalities. Instead, architectural constructs are realized by many diverse mechanism in implementation, usually collection of functions, class files, objects, and so forth. So when a system is initially developed, its high level design or architectural elements are mapped onto the implementation elements Therefore, when we reconstruction those elements, we need to apply the inverse of the mappings. So please give me 1 minute. So I hope all of the members are able to audible my voice. So if the Zoom session is running out of time, you try to log in by using the same link without wasting time. Okay. Srinivas sir. Srinivas sir. So what's the topic now on the screen, sir? What's the topic now? Please read once. Please read once. What's the topic? Okay, sir. Okay. So okay. When we are performing the reconstruction, definitely we are based upon to the some activities. So those type of activities are, so first one is information extraction, and second one is database construction, and third one is view fusion, and the last one is reconstruction. So if you are observing this diagram, so here view extraction first of all, second thing is performing the nothing but here another one is the database construction, view fusion, and last one is reconstruction. So that means you if you are observing the reconstructing the software, so that means initially we are based upon to the some information. So based upon that information only we are able to perform the reconstruction. So why we need to perform the reconstruction? To correcting the errors, or maybe which type of problems are faced by the users in the reality. So those type of problems are recovered in the reconstruction stage. So that means we need to extract some information. That is the first step, view extraction. So those are maybe the lexical analysis, or maybe the syntactic analysis or semantic analysis, whatever it may be. Here we are observing some or maybe retrieving some information. So that type of the information is needed to performing the reconstruction, and we can consider, in other words, this is to update the existing software also. Okay, and second thing is database construction. So that means here whatever it may be, we are receiving the feedback or maybe the information, or which type of information is needed to modifying the existing software, those type of information is maintained into the database. Next, we are performing the view fusion. So view fusion combines the information database to produce the coherent view of the architecture. Hello. All of you mute yourself first.